All right, good evening, everybody. Been a while since we played some out of the park baseball. Just to let you know, I got rid of the 1904 What If World Series because I had forgotten to set it to the dead ball era. So that's why we're seeing tons and tons and tons of home runs. So we're going to restart that at future point. But tonight, just doing some 1974 in out of the park baseball 26. So still playing 27 or beta testing it. And really having a lot of fun. There's brother Jack Dawson. Welcome in, buddy. Good to see you. So a little 1974 action. We got some decent matchups. I think tonight we're going to travel to New York. New York. We're going to have the Cleveland Indians against the New York Yankees. Gaylord Perry against Mel Stottlemyre. Let's have a little fun, little American League action here tonight. And here we go. Looking at the starting lineup for the 1974 Cleveland Indians. In left field, John Lowenstein. Batting second at DH is Oscar Gamble. Batting third in center field, George Hendrick. Batting cleanup and catching, John Ellis. Batting fifth, right fielder Charlie Spikes. Batting sixth at first base, Chris Chambliss. Batting seventh at third base, Buddy Bell. Batting eighth, shortstop Frank Duffy. And batting ninth at second base, Remy Hermoso. Roy White will be leading things off for the New York Yankees in left field, batting second at first base, Mike Hagan. Batting third, the captain himself behind the plate, Thurman Munson. Batting fourth, and up in center field, Bobby Mercer. Batting fifth in right field, Ron Blomberg. Batting sixth, third baseman, Greg Nettles. Batting sixth, Bill Sadakis, DH duties tonight for him. Batting eighth at second base, Gene Michael, and batting ninth at shortstop, Jim Mason. Welcome into Nathaniel. He says, "Hey, bud, got over a cold and now migraines. What the hell's going on with you?" I'm telling you, man, we gotta send you back to the shop, pal. Had I known you were coming in, I would have done a Brewers game. But actually, you know what? We can. Let's do it. Even if you can't stay that long, Nathaniel, let's see if the Brewers are playing today. Yep, Red Sox Brewers. So Bill Lee versus Jim Slayton. This is 1974. So let's do this one. All right, there we go. See, easy enough to do that. Just do it a little quick. Let's enjoy some of the great game of baseball. All right, we just relax with those migraines, friend. Stay out of the bright light and just relax. Yeah. All right. For the visiting Boston Red Sox, leading off at DH, Tommy Harper. Batting second in center field, Juan Beniquez. Batting third at first base, Cecil Cooper. Batting cleanup in left field, the legend himself, Carl Yastrzemski. Batting fifth and catching, Bob Montgomery. Batting sixth, right fielder, Bernie Carbo. Batting seventh, third base, Terry Hughes. Batting eighth at the Keystone Sack, Doug Griffin. And batting ninth and anchoring down at shortstop, Mario Guerrero. Bill Lee making his start tonight for the Boston Red Sox. For the hometown Milwaukee Brewers, leading off at third base, Don Money. Batting second and designated hitter, Ken Berry. Batting third in center field, Dave May. Batting in the cleanup spot at first base, George Scott. Batting fifth, left fielder, Johnny Briggs. Batting sixth, in right field, Bob Coluccio. Batting seventh and catching, Darrell Porter. Batting eighth at second base, Pedro Garcia. Batting ninth at short, Robin Yount and Jim Slayton. So we are on our way out to County Stadium in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So attendance today, 12,934. We have clear skies. It is 45 degrees. The wind blowing left to right at 11 miles per hour. So bundle up. Chilly day here in Milwaukee. So Nathaniel says he loves his new program manager, full-time job. So glad to hear that, Nathaniel. You deserve it. You deserve it, my friend. All right, here we are. Beautiful Milwaukee County Stadium. And what can I say? As I always say, thank you, Mike Silver, for these beautiful ballparks and, of course, the great uniform mod. I do want to make a change in here in the. And now I've gotten so used to Out of the Park 27, I realize I have to do it this way. So Out of the Park 27 does things pretty differently, but I do want to change the player size down to 100. I like that look a little bit better. Let me see. Da 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 Okay, I think we got everything the way I want it, and Let's play some baseball. I just want to check the 3D animation here as well. Great tip by Christopher Slovic is to set it to slightly slow. There we go. You get a better sense of the ballpark. All right, we're ready to go. Tommy Harper in the box now, leading it off. He's 3 for 5. Early days here in 1974. Let's pan around Milwaukee County Stadium. Hope we all meet up someday too, my friend. I really, really, really do. Great old ballpark, and we're ready to rock and roll. The 0-2 pitch swung on, and hard grounder to short there, taking it on the hop is Robin Yount. As this gets by Slayton for the 6-3 put out, one down, and here is Juan Beniquez. 1-1 pitch on the way to Beniquez, cut on, and this one just a little grounder over to short, and it's the Robin Yount show over there. Let's change our initial camera views here just for a few minutes. Anyhow, so let's go to, let's get a home plate TV camera. That looks, nah, that's not what I want. Hang on. Hang on. Hang on. I like that, like behind, just because that way you can see the, oh, where the hell is it? So that way you guys can see the, the live scoreboards and stuff like that. It's really, really fun. Where's the home plate? I want the one that's down at field level. Is this it? No, that's not either. Forget it. I don't feel like mucking about with it. I'm too tired to look. So we're just going to go back to the park pick camera. All right, here we go. Here's Cecil Cooper batting with 2 down here in the top of the first for the Red Sox. Oh, there we go. There's the pitch. Swung on, and this one, high drive out to left field, and ranging over to his left and making the grab. Briggs bringing it down, calling off May, and that does it for Boston in the first. We go to the bottom of the first inning, and it's the Red Sox nothing, and the Milwaukee Brewers coming to bat. And let's see what the hell I have pitched here. 70s behind home plate. Let's do, for the initial camera, 70s behind home plate. There we go. Looks a bit cooler there, and you get to see Mike's uniform mod. I've got to tell you guys, coming out and out of the park 27. I'm no expert at all, brother. No expert at all. But thank you for that, Nathaniel. The players look a lot sharper. You're going to see a lot more texturing on the uniforms and things like that. So, yeah, looking cool, looking cool. All right, leading it off here is Don Money facing Bill Lee, and we're ready to go. 2-1 pitch on the way from Bill Lee, and this one swung on, and high fly ball, left field, Carl Yastrzemski angling a few steps, and he will make the grab. JT Dutch, yeah, having a good day. We've got to get you on after this game. Let's get this thing going quickly, if you're willing to come on. All right, here's Ken Berry now. Berry, the DH duties here tonight. 2-2 pitch on the way, swung on by Berry, and this one's going to get dumped into left, base hit. So first base hit in the ball game. So the Brewers with 1 aboard, and it brings up Dave May. 0-1 pitch. May swings. This one, high fly ball out to center field, and ranging over to his right is going to be Beniquez. So Beniquez making a nice grab. So 2 down here for Milwaukee brings up George Scott, hitting 3 for 4. Throw over, and this is going to get past Cooper, and Berry is going to make it to second. Oh, my goodness gracious. So Bill Lee loses control of that ball. Score that one E1, and a runner now in scoring position. George Scott back in the box, the 1-2 pitch, and he swings, and this one driven to right, down in the corner, and George Scott is going to have himself an RBI, and Milwaukee Brewers draw first blood, 1-0 here in the bottom of the first at Milwaukee County Stadium. All right, let's have a look at that one again. Sorry, guys. I just got off playing a game of out of Park 27, and so things work a little bit differently in that one than this one. But here we go. And this one absolutely tattooed down by the 315 mark there in right field. So run scores, and George Scott safe at second. 2 out RBI double. All right, here's Johnny Briggs now. Lefty batter in the box against Bill Lee. 0-2 pitch. Swung on by Briggs. This one, high fly ball, center fielder, and Beniquez has it for out number 3, calling off Bernie Carbo. But the Milwaukee Brewers pick up a runs on 2 hits. There was 1 error and a runner left on. 1-0 Milwaukee's would go to the top of the second inning. And I better get these comments popped out here a little bit. There we go. What with the ML4? So because there's been all kinds of Milwaukee things, I'm not sure why the game does that. That's easy to change, by the way. And how you doing, Philip? So yeah, I mean that could always be changed. Okay, I'm going to change up the view. I mean, I think this looks really, really nice. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to mess around with a couple other. Yeah, hey, that little action cam thing. I kind of like that. Let's do action cam. Yeah, and let's do action cam for that, and let's go. All right, Carl Yastrzemski will lead things off here for the Red Sox. Jim Slayton has the signs here from Daryl Porter, and the 0-1 pitch. Yaz swings. This one drilled to left field, but short of the track, and making the grab will be Briggs. All right, here comes Bob Montgomery now. Slayton wheels and deals. 2-0 pitch to Montgomery. Swung on, and this one sinking liner to center field. Nice play out there, though, by May to bring it down for 2 down. All right, here's Bernie Carbo. Nothing for 3 in the season. Count even 2-2. Carbo cuts on this one. And lazy fly ball out there to right field. And not a problem for Coluccio. The Red Sox go in order, and we go to the bottom of the second inning. And it is 1-0 Milwaukee, and we're going to just switch everything back to the park pick. A little bit easier to do for me, I think, doing the park pick. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. All right. So Bob Coluccio will be leading off. It's Coluccio, Porter, and Garcia due up for the Brewers here in the bottom of the second. This game for Nathaniel. 1-2 pitch on the way to Coluccio. Big swing and a miss on a fastball. 1 up, 1 down. And here comes Daryl Porter. Daryl Porter, 4 for 4 on the season. So these teams have only played 1 game thus far, so let's not get too excited. Lee deals, 3-1 pitch, and Porter swinging on a hitter's pitch, and a little blunder out there at third base. And they're not going to charge Terry Hughes with the error. They're going to give Daryl Porter the infield hit. So third hit for Milwaukee in the game brings up Pedro Garcia, 1 for 2 in the season. 0-1 pitch on the way. Garcia shows bunt, and that changeup gets by him. 0-2. No, throw over to first, and Porter is picked off. Porter picked off. So Bill Lee trying the pickoff move back in the first inning in an error, but this time gets Daryl Porter napping. So 2 out, bases empty. Garcia back in the box. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Swung on by Garcia, and this one sharp grounder to second base, but up with it is Griffin, and he will go to first for the third out of the inning. Red Sox face the minimum. We go to the top of the third. Milwaukee leads Boston 1-0 here in 1974. All right, Hughes will lead things off here. Terry Hughes making his first plate appearance. 1-1 pitch to Terry Hughes. And cut on, sinking liner into left, and this will get down for a base hit. So Boston picking up its first run, or its first hit of the game. So Terry Hughes aboard, no threat to steal. Here's Doug Griffin. He's 1 for 4. Count even at 2-2. Griffin grounded to third when they turn 2, 5-4, but they will not get to the 3. So Garcia upended there a little bit, and runner on first and 1 away for Mario Guerrero. Daryl Porter, the Cardinals catcher for the 1982 team, says Nathaniel. So yeah, Philip, these are very easy to change. I don't know why it's ML4. I have no clue. But easy enough to change. But I know it's the Brewers. We all know it's the Brewers. So but I can show you how to change that pretty easy. All right, Jim Slayton pitching with one down and one on and a 1-0 lead. Count even 2-2. Guerrero swings, soft liner to first, and that's going to be a double play. Great play out there by George Scott. We got to look at that one again. We'll just look at that as a regular replay. And a little slip there at first. Did you see that? A little bit of a slip off the bag. So good heads-up work there by Slayton. All right, we go to the bottom of the third inning, and it'll be Robin Yount, and back at the top of the order, Don Money and Ken Berry due up for the Milwaukee Brewers. Robin Yount, 0-for-4. I know I have a picture of Robin Yount somewhere, but I just haven't done an update here. So 0-2 pitch on the way. Yount swings and drills this one to right field off the top of the wall, and Robin Yount making his way to second and running through the stop sign, and he will have a leadoff triple. So Robin Yount up there gets his money's worth off a fastball that stayed up there by Bill Lee. So Milwaukee threatening with its second run just 90 feet away, and here's Don Money, who is 0-for-1. 1-1 pitch from the stretch. Don Money swings, bounding ball to second. The only play will be to first. Griffin over to Cooper on the 4-3 putout, and Robin Yount scores 2-0 now in favor of the Milwaukee Brewers. Again, we're playing in 1974, JT Dutch. ML4 is due to the Brewers being the fourth franchise. Thank you. Yeah, I didn't realize that all these years I played out of the park that it would do that. So pretty cool. Yeah, the Grays in 78. The second was the original Brewers in 1901. And then the Milwaukee Braves and finally the Brewers. JT Dutch, what would I do without you, my brother? I was thinking of that, but I forgot about the Grays, the 1878 Grays, and of course the Milwaukee Braves. Never a losing season while in Milwaukee. So there we go. So I guess that would be really nice, that team designation, if this was sort of like, not that I would put the 1974 Brewers in an all-time greats league, but there you go. So JT Dutch, you are the man, the myth, the legend. And the libido, I suppose. I don't know. Who knows? You could be. All right. So one away, and here's Ken Berry. 0-2 pitch on the way to Berry. And Berry gets hit by the pitch. Can't hurt too much. That was just a little change up. But yeah, it's easily to change to Milwaukee if you want. Absolutely. Berry, decent speed. Let's look at Ken Berry here. We got to look all the way in here for his real life stats. Something else that'll be, it's a nice change for out of the park 27. Something really cool happens when you mouse over players that gives you a lot more information. All right, here's Dave May. He is 0-for-1, 1 down, 1 on, 2-0 Milwaukee lead. 1-1 pitch. And this one, a little dribbler to second, and only play is going to be at first as Griffin up with it, and he will go over to Cecil Cooper for the 4-3 putout. Griffin donning the gold glove there at second base for the Boston Red Sox. Brings up George Scott now. He is 1-for-1 with an RBI. Ken Berry in scoring position, and the 0-1 pitch. And Scott, little dribbler to first, taking it to the bag himself, will be Cecil Cooper. So the Brewers do pick up another run. We go to the top of the fourth inning. Milwaukee leads Boston 2-0. Leading off here now at the top of the order is Tommy Harper. Tommy Harper, 0-for-1. The Red Sox, Harper, Benitez, and Cooper due up. And here's the pitch. And Harper swings, and this little lazy fly ball is going to hang out. Charging on is Briggs, and he will make the grab as Dave May tried to run in on it, but Johnny Briggs had him all the way. Juan Benitez, 0-for-1. So Boston thus far just one hit in this ball game. 1-2 pitch to Benitez, swung on, and this one a little seeing eye, kind of slow grounder up the middle. So Boston picks up its second base hit in the game, and Benitez with good speed at first. Here's Cecil Cooper, 0-for-1. Cooper, decent power, pretty good contact, 0-1 pitch. And there goes the runner. And Beniquez is going to have second stolen with no contest as Darrell Porter just can't dig the glove out of the horsehide. So now Cecil Cooper represents the tying run at the plate. Beniquez, good lead off of second. Slayton peers over his right shoulder, and he comes home with a 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Little off-speed action there by Jim Slayton to take care of Cecil Cooper. 2 down now for Yaz, who is 0-1. Yastrzemski swings, and this one, if it stays fair, it's gone. And it goes foul. So that's why you need Carlton Fisk there to kind of will that one fair. But Yastrzemski just turning a little bit too late on that hanging curveball by Jim Slayton. Jim Slayton very happy about that, by the way. Yaz back in the box, count full. Yastrzemski straightens it out, but just a little dribbler to second. And that will end the inning as Garcia on to Scott for the 4-3 putout. So the Red Sox strand one in scoring position. We head to the home half of the fourth inning here at Milwaukee County Stadium in 1974. 2-0. Brewers lead the Red Sox. All right, Briggs, Coluccio, and Porter are due up for the Brewers. Johnny Briggs, 0-1. Bill Lee has the sign from Bob Montgomery. Count full on Briggs. Cut on. And just a little roller there to second base. Nothing to get excited about as Doug Griffin feeds it on to Cecil Cooper. And there's Mark. How you doing, Mark? Saying hey to everyone, and on the getting very close to this great new channel with Mark and Pesky, with everybody, man. It's going to be amazing. A lot of head-to-head play there. Everybody in the community really looking forward to it, Mark, and it's great to see you. Is it easy to change uniform numbers? So you know what? That's a question for Mike Silva. I mean, I know you can change uniform numbers in the game. I don't know how that works with Mike's mod. Go dress rehearsal. Dress rehearsal. You know what? You know this, Mark. After the hell of tech rehearsals, dress rehearsals are wonderful. So, all right. And break a leg on opening night. Break a leg, my friend. All right. Here's Bob Coluccio now. Coluccio, 0-1. Bill Lee works at home now. Coluccio struck out his last time up, and this one popped high in the infield first base side, and calling everybody off is Doug Griffin. So out number 2, and here's Darrell Porter. Darrell Porter, 1-1, was also caught napping by Bill Lee in this game. Count full on Porter. And the lefty swings, and one hopper there to short, and handled easily by Mario Guerrero, and that does it for the Milwaukee Brewers here in the fourth. Fifth inning now, Brewers leading the Red Sox 2-0 here. Bob Montgomery, Bernie Carbo. 1-2 pitch here. I'm sorry to Montgomery. I hit that really quickly. Montgomery, tapper back to the mound. Slayton up with it, and on to George Scott. All right, here's Bernie Carbo now. He's 0-1. Count even, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Carbo cuts on this one, and he's going to dump that little Texas leaguer into left field. All right, so Carbo aboard. We'll steal the occasional base. Here's Terry Hughes. Doug Griffin waits on deck. Hughes 1-1 in the game. 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Jim Slayton picks up the K, and that went on a, again, little off-speed pitch. So 2 down, and here's Doug Griffin. He's 0-1. Count 0-2, grounded out his last time up, and he's going to ground back to Slayton. Slayton, close play at first, and how about that? So Doug Griffin with the infield hit. Slayton a little slow on that throw. Could have taken a funny bounce off the bump there. Mark says play 2 roles. One is a vile animal named Connie Lynch, who incited racial violence in the 60s at these white supremacist rallies. You give a speech as him that is so filled with evil hate. Oh, tough. And then it makes you shake when you're finished. I can only imagine. I can only imagine hard you when you get those kinds of things because you've got to be in character. But I think for actors, you do tread that line, definitely tread that line. But I'm thinking, is was it the boys from Brazil, or was it, oh my God, what's the other one? Anyhow, Sir Laurence Olivier, Lord Laurence Olivier, had played a Nazi, and absolutely terrifying, just terrifying. And I would also point you to Sir Ian McKellen and his fantastic role, an apt pupil. But yeah, those kinds of, boy, would love to see the play. Wish I could be there to see it. So, again, break a leg. How long is the run for, Mark? All right, 2 on, 2 down for Mario Guerrero, who is nothing for one. Count full on Guerrero, and Guerrero is going to draw the walk as this payoff pitch, curveball missing just inside. Then he plays Oriole team trainer Eddie Widener, and he's the comic relief in the play. I play him as this really sweet old guy. So the show runs for a month. So when you're able, that's also the mark of an excellent actor. Um, when you're able to do those roles and to make the audience just right, that says a lot about you. That's a tough thing to do for an actor to play dual roles. I mean, we had a recent example of it in cinema, in a movie that a lot of people kind of poo-pooed on, but I really liked it. Was Alto Nights, and Robert De Niro plays the part of two mafia dons. Vito Genovese, which is he was one of the most ruthless mobsters in organized crime history, but he also plays Frank Costello, known as the prime minister of the mob. Costello and Vito Genovese, like heads and tails. Those two guys, so different. And do a run somewhere else. Nice. It's called The Alto Knights, and yeah, De Niro plays Vito Genovese and Frank Costello. Of course, Costello's original name was Castiglia, but he wanted to Irishize his name a bit, and kept out of kind of the day to day things. But it's a really really good story, and I really like it. It's more of a slow burn mob movie, so don't expect um, things like Kill the Irishman or Goodfellas or Casino. It's not quite that kind of movie, but it's I thought brilliantly done, and I thought that Robert De Niro, of course, one of the greats of all time, uh, and I mean the voice is very different. As you know, Mark, he's a method actor, so studied these two men extensively, and the way he plays Genovese was very rough and again very very brutal. And Costello, who is very, he's kind of refined, even though I mean, you do see him in the old Kefauver hearings where he talks about he paid his taxes and stuff like that. But to be able to channel these two, and I mean, not to make Frank Costello any kind of angel, he was a mafia don, so he made his bones. But an interesting movie. It's called The Alto Knights. All right, bases loaded, and we have us Dick McAuliffe now. So Dick McAuliffe will assume the DH mantle now, making his first plate appearance of the game. McAuliffe, best known, of course, for being a member of the 1968 Detroit Tigers. Count full on McAuliffe and nowhere to put him. And there we go. So Carbo will walk home, and Jim Slayton will walk in Boston's first run. Bases still loaded, 2 down for Juan Beniquez. 1 for 2 in the game. Slayton in serious trouble here. From the stretch in the 1-2 pitch, Beniquez swings. This should end the inning. Grounder to short, and close play at short. But Robin Yount showing why he's a Hall of Famer. So the Boston picks up a run on a walk. 2 hits. They leave them loaded. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Milwaukee leads Boston 2-1. Yes, exactly. So Costello did try to pass him and hung out with, big people in business and celebrities and stuff like that, and really kept himself kind of, much like Carlo Gambino did, actually. Very kind of old school. What Genovese, and this is no spoiler in the movie, Genovese, of course, breaking one of the cardinal rules of the mob back in those days. So when Genovese went to prison, he handed off everything to Costello. Genovese came out. He starts doing drug deals, things like that, and bad, bad, bad stuff. But Genovese was a bad dude, man. They both were. But I think you'll like the contrast that De Niro brings to these two, infamous gentlemen. Pedro Garcia, Robin Yount, Don Money due up for these Milwaukee Brewers here in the home half of the fifth inning. 2-1, nice close ball game. Boston 1-4-1, and Milwaukee 2-4-0. Bill Lee ready to work. The spaceman deals. And Garcia swung on. Oh, diving stop over there at third, but a bad throw. And runner's going to go to second, and that's definitely an error. So Hughes makes the great diving stop, but the errant throw that gets by Cecil Cooper all the way to the grandstands on the first base side. And here we go. Milwaukee now with a runner in scoring position, nobody down. And here's Robin Yount, who's 1-for-1. Count 3-1 on Yount. Bill Lee deals. Yount swings, grounder to second. Only play will be to first. And bang, bang play over there as Griffin makes the play. Pedro Garcia moves to third. Potential third Milwaukee run just 90 feet away. And here's Don Money. Don Money, 0-for-2, does have an RBI. Lee from the stretch, 2-2 pitch. Swung on. This one drilled, no doubt about this one. Line drive in the corner. And do we have a ground rule double? I'm not sure if we do, but it's a double anyhow. So Yastrzemski just absolutely motoring for that ball. So RBI double for Don Money, and that adds a little bit of insurance here for Milwaukee. At the bottom of the fifth inning, it's 3-1. Don Money, excellent speed out there at second as Ken Berry settles into the right-hand side of the box. He is 1-for-1, the 1-2 offering. And this one grounded past first all the way to the corner in right field. And Ken Berry is going to have himself an RBI double here in the bottom of the fifth inning. And let's call that one 4-1 Milwaukee. So the Brewers bring in the wicket today as Dave May is in the box. Now, he is 0-for-2. Ken Berry also pretty good speed. 2-1 pitch, and this one, base hit into right field. A little bit of hesitation there for Don Money as he wasn't sure that ball was going to be caught. Or by Ken Berry, I'm sorry. So runners at the corners, still just one away, and here's George Scott. He is 1-for-2 with a run batted in. From the stretch and the pitch, and Scott is going to send this out to right field, angling in, charging in, almost overran the ball, is Bernie Carbo. So makes a good catch out there. All right, so Ken Berry not going to run on Bernie Carbo. Strong arm out there in right field for the Boston Red Sox. Here's Johnny Briggs, 0-for-2. And 2 ducks on the pond. From the stretch, Bill Lee brings it home. Count full. Swung on. Diving stop at second base over there by Doug Griffin. Great play. But it's going to be an error. Let me see. What are they scoring that as an error? So bad throw there. So again, great stop by Griffin, but bad throw. Score that one E4. Ken Berry will score the fifth run for the Milwaukee Brewers. Let's have a look at that one again. Just a regular replay. So again, good diving stop, but hurries his throw, and that allows the run to score. So if you're still hanging out with us, Nathaniel, your Brewers making a really good showing here against these Red Sox. All right, here's a paisano, Roberto Coluccio. He's 0-for-2. And the 2-1 pitch, Coluccio swings, hard ground ball to second, But up with it and taking it to the bag himself is Doug Griffin. So that's it. It takes care of Briggs and the inning. The Brewers send 10 men to the plate and they plate 3. 5-1, Milwaukee leads Boston as we move into the top half of the 6th inning. Cecil Cooper, Carl Yastrzemski, Bob Montgomery due up. Jim Slayton deals to Cooper. Cooper, first pitch swinging, and just a little soft fly ball out there to center field. May calling off Briggs and brings it in for out number 1. Here's Yaz. Yaz nothing for 2. 3-1 pitch. Yastrzemski will take ball 4. Fastball missing. This one down low. All right, here's Bob Montgomery. He's nothing for 2. Yastrzemski leads off first. 1-2 pitch. Montgomery looks at a called strike 3. Beautiful slider in there by Jim Slayton, picking up his 3rd strikeout to accompany the 3 free passes. Bernie Carbo, 1 for 2. 2 down. 1-2 pitch to Carbo. Lefty swings and misses. So kind of a little just attempting a poke job at the curveball. Boston strands a runner. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Milwaukee 5, Boston 1. Mark says before rehearsal tonight, someone threw out a baseball trivia that I only knew the answer to because of your love for the hobby. Well, hey, why don't you pass it on here to the community? And let's see, we got a couple people watching. We got like 13 people hanging out. Let's bring this back down again. All right, Reggie Cleveland coming on in relief now for the Boston Red Sox. Cleveland making his first appearance. Again, we're just very, very early in this. All right, here's Daryl Porter. Porter 1 for 2. So Reggie Cleveland ready to deal. There are only 5 players who've hit 500 or more home runs, all with one team. Name them. All with one team. Whoa. Okay, that's tough. So all with one team. Because that's the tricky bit because, Babe Ruth hit some home runs with the Red Sox. Willie Mays, I believe, hit like 1 or 2 or something for the Mets. So it takes those guys out. I'm thinking of all the big sluggers. Mel Lott is one of them. Mel Lott with his entire career with the Giants, 511. So Mel Lott is 1. Boy, this is a tough one. All with one team. No, wait a minute. So let me ask you this. We're not talking career. So if we're talking so if it's 500s, okay, there we go. Eddie Matthews, Hank Aaron, Mel Lott, Ted Williams. So there we go. 2 Braves, a Giant, and a Red Sox. JT Dutch, you're amazing. I'm happy I at least got Mel Lott. Because you think of the sluggers. I'm thinking, okay, because Babe Ruth hit 500 of his home runs with the Yankees, but all with one team, says Mark. So Mel Lott is the first one you named, yeah. One of those Hall of Famers that you just, I'm hoping, I hope at least Giants fans know about Mel Lott. Had a bizarre batting stance, and a lot of people rag on Mel Lott and say, because of those short porches and left and right at the Polo Grounds, but Mel Lott hit some home runs on the road too. So not May, yeah, well, yeah. So it's not going to be Mays. So no, because Hank Aaron finished with the Brewers. So yeah, Hank Aaron doesn't count, JT. So Ted Williams would be right. Mel Lott would be right. Eddie Matthews, no, because Matthews was not a Brave for his whole career. So Ott and Williams. So who are the other 3? All right, so Eddie Matthews is, because Eddie Matthews played for somebody else, but I guess he didn't hit any home runs. Griffey Jr., Ken Griffey Jr., right? He's got to be one, because wasn't he Griffey? Unless I'm wrong, wasn't he a Mariner his whole career? Could be wrong. No, wait, was he? Yeah, is it Ken Griffey Jr.? This is a little tougher than I thought. Right, but he said all with one team. If you look back at the way the question, okay, so Ken Griffey Jr. is the next one. Okay. Oh no, so it's not. Yeah, so it's not Griffey Jr. Damn, this is hard. So if it's all with one team, right? Ted Williams with 536 career home runs, all with the Red Sox. We also established Mel Ott at 511. So there's three more guys who hit 500 home runs or over 500s, all with the same, right? Yikes. And Ted Williams is not one of them? I mean, Williams didn't play for anybody else except the Red Sox, right? Now I'm confuzzled because I'm thinking, of course, guys like Jimmy Fox, but Jimmy Fox played a lot of years with the Red Sox after he left Philadelphia, the Athletics. So, taint Jimmy. So Williams not on the list. Okay, sound's going to cut out for a second here in Out of the Park because that's what it does. And I'm just looking up one record, I promise you guys. Just curious here. Baseball Reference, Teddy Ball Game. So let's see. Ted Williams, 1939 to 1960. All with the Boston Red Sox and 521 career home runs. So it's got to be Ted Williams. The only years that he lost were, he lost 3 years, 43 for 45 through World War II. And I believe he had an abbreviated season in 1950 due to the Korean War. Got to pop out those comments again. I wish EVMUX would fix this because it drives me crazy. Yeah, Williams hit. Yeah, he did hit 500. He hit 521 home runs. Yes. All right. So we have Mel Ott, Ted Williams. My God, now I forgot who the other guy was. We had three of them, didn't we? So Mel Ott, Ted Williams. But yeah, because they've said that had Williams, when Williams was playing, so when Jimmy Fox retired in 1945 or around there, Jimmy Fox with 536 career home runs was second only to Babe Ruth's career. Eddie Matthews, though, didn't play his entire career with the Braves. And if you're saying all with one team, it's not Eddie Matthews. Mike Schmidt. What? Wait, Schmitty didn't play. Oh my God. Did Schmidt play his entire career with the Phillies? I mean, he played most of it, but didn't. I thought Mike Schmidt started with somebody else. We're going to call this a rain delay in the game right now while we figure this out. Okay, so Mike Schmidt. Okay, so we got Mike Schmidt, Ted Williams, and Mel Ott, and there's two more. All right, here's Darrell Porter now. Reggie Cleveland ready to deal. The 0-2 pitch on the way to Darrell Porter, grounded out his last time up. Steal right 3. Reggie Cleveland comes in there with a fastball and disposes of Darrell Porter's. Pedro Garcia, he has nothing for 2. 1-1 pitch on the way to Garcia, reached on an error last time. Garcia swings, slow dribbler there to second base. And Doug Griffin up with it and over to Cecil Cooper. 2 up, 2 down. Matthews played Milwaukee and Atlanta Braves, so let's call it all one franchise. Okay, but I thought Eddie Matthews, yeah. Oh my God, yeah, Mickey Mantle. There you go. Yeah, Mickey Mantle. Damn it, why didn't I think of the Mick? Jeez. All right, so, but Eddie Matthews. I'm sorry, gotta look again. Sorry. Because I think that Eddie Matthews. I don't know why I'm thinking Eddie Matthews. Nope, not Eddie Matthews, guys. I thought so. So Eddie Matthews played for Houston and Detroit in 1967. 1968, he finishes with the Tigers. But let me see here, and he did hit nine home. What comes out to be what, 9 home runs? No, 19 home runs in that trade in 1967. So Eddie Matthews is not one of them. I just remember because I remember seeing Eddie Matthews um, on another team, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know he Eddie Matthews. So with the Tigers. So Ernie Banks, yes, Ernie Banks. Ernie Banks is the other guy. Got to be the other guy. It's not Eddie Matthews. So Ernie Banks, I believe Mr. Cub was a Cub his whole career. So Ernie Banks, Mel Ott, Ted Williams, um, Mickey Mantle, and we're missing one. We're still missing one. Am I right? This is not Matthews. But yeah, was it Ernie Banks was 500 something home runs? Yeah, because if it's all one team, then that's because uh, that's what but still coming up with it, that's impressive. And you know what? For most folks, knowing all those old players, that's damned impressive anyhow, Mark. But I'm ashamed that I didn't think of Mickey Mantle in my anybody's money. I think the most dangerous switch hitter of all time. Um, God, so I'm obsessed now. Mickey Mantle, Mel Ott, Ted Williams, Ernie Banks, and if there's a fifth, I have no idea who it is. And you're never going to see that again. Who nobody spends his entire career now with one team. Here's Robin Yount. He's 1 for 2. Count 1-1 on Yount. Swung on, and this one just a little soft liner there to Guerrero. So that's it. No runs, no hits, no errors. Nobody left on base. Top of the 7th. 5-1 Milwaukee lead. Banks should be in the list. This is what happens when actors ask baseball trivia question. Yeah, definitely Ernie Banks is on there. So there's 4 that, hey, John DFW. So I'm trying, we've kind of ruled out. So there we go. We have the 5. It's Mike Schmidt, Ernie Banks, Mickey Mantle, Ted Williams, and Mel Ott. The 5 players in baseball history that hit 500 or more home runs and did it all on one team. Thanks, Mark. That's an awesome question. And that was a tough one. That was tough. Oh, but there's another played in the 60s and early 70s. Not is it Killebrew? No, Harmon Killebrew. No, did Harmon Killebrew hit more than 500 home runs? Because that would be Killebrew's era. That's the only guy I can think of would be Harmon Killebrew. But I don't. Did he hit more than 500 home runs? Oh, so Killebrew also played with the Royals, so that knocks the killer out. So we're still missing one. So then there must be 6 because we got a Philly, a Cub, a Yankee, a Red Sox, and a Giant. These are tough questions. I love them. All right, here's Terry Hughes. It'd be Hughes, Griffin, and Guerrero due up for the Red Sox. 5-1 Milwaukee lead. Count even, 2 balls, 2 strikes. And Terry Hughes cuts on this one. Fly ball going toward the foul line in shallow right field, and Garcia makes the grab. 1 away. So it is Harmon Killebrew? Killer hit 530 some home runs. So Killebrew played for the Royals. Was that the end of his career, JT? All right, here's Doug Griffin. He is 1 for 2. Count full on Griffin. Swatted at and 2 hopper to second. And that's an easy play there for Pedro Garcia. So 2 away here in the Boston 7th. And here's Mario Guerrero. Nothing for 1 in the game. Walked back in the 5th. Swung on. Dribbler to third. And throwing a strike across the diamond is Don Money. 3 up, 3 down for the Boston Red Sox. 7th inning stretch time here at Milwaukee County Stadium The Milwaukee Brewers lead the Boston Red Sox 5-1 here in 1974. Clearly, the guy who asked the question didn't have his facts. I said Killebrew. He said I was right. Killebrew hit any home runs with the Royals. And JT says he hit about 15 with the Royals. Okay, so he finished out with Kansas City. I never understood, like, you had like these iconic franchise players, and these guys would get traded away in the last year of their career. It's like, come on, this guy, this guy did great things for your team, and you're gonna, he's gonna finish out like his last year. I mean, I think the biggest joke of them all, the biggest injustice. Yeah, still a great question, Mark. It took us a while to get it all right. Um, was of course Babe Ruth, right? Traded to Boston, but not the Boston Red Sox, but rather the Boston Braves. And it was really just a dog and pony show, so that people in the National League could see Babe Ruth play. But that was such an awful thing. But Babe Ruth made his final statement at Forbes Field, where I think that day, did he knock, it was 2 or 3 home runs at Forbes Field. And Forbes Field, not an easy park to hit a home run. And that was a big, big ballpark. But yeah, Twins released Killebrew in January 75, JT tells us. Brutal. Yeah, that is brutal for these great players, And of course, getting back to Babe Ruth, they called him the assistant manager. Ruth wanted to manage so badly. Of course, what you find, interestingly enough, is that great players usually make crappy managers. Ted Williams was not a good manager. Hannes Wagner wasn't a good manager. I'm trying to think of John McGraw is one of the exceptions to the rule. John McGraw was a great baseball player, and at least for my money, the greatest manager in baseball history. You look at John McGraw's stats, lifetime 340 hitter, the whole thing, and played modern era baseball. Fred Clark is another one. So Kiner, well, I'm not that sure he was traded out of spite. So Greenberg finished his career. Kiner stayed with Pittsburgh. Greenberg was came from Detroit over to Pittsburgh. So what would become Kiner's corner was for a while called Greenberg Gardens at Forbes Field. Kiner put a lot of people in the seats, but Hank Greenberg ended up in Pittsburgh at the end of his career. Joe Torre, good player, yeah. So Torre would be another exception, but you look at a lot of these guys, like Jim Leyland, not a good player. So many of them, but they, great head. Casey Stengel was pretty good, but I think of making that. But then Jim Leyland never made it out of the minors. Was an excellent manager. Got to give it to him. Tommy Lasorda. And I think guys like McGraw, Torre, Hank Greenberg. Yep, but there was an issue there. He wanted more money. Well, Greenberg Greenberg did for the Tigers, but Greenberg played for some pretty good Tigers teams, and what a fearsome hitter he was. Sparky Anderson, yep, great manager, not a very good player. All right, we are at the bottom half of the 7th inning, and it's Don Money, top of the order here for Milwaukee. Money, Barry, and May. Don Money is 1 for 3 in the game, and he has batted in 2 of Milwaukee's 5 runs. 0-1 pitch on the way. Doubled his last time. It was an RBI double, and Don Money's going to put a little bit of flair into right field. So Don Money picking up the single, and here's Ken Berry. Pretty decent hit and run combination, though, with a 5-run lead or a 4-run lead. I don't think you're going to deal with that. Reggie Cleveland staying on in relief. Ken Berry had an RBI double. Oh, drilled to second base. Nice stop over there by Doug Griffin. They're going to give him the infield hit. There's no way Griffin's going to make that play, but Griffin doesn't make that play, and Milwaukee has its sixth run. So pin a gold star there, a Willie Stargell star on Doug Griffin. All right, 2 on, nobody out for Dave May, who is 1 for 3. The count, 1 ball, no strikes. And this one, slow roller to short, and they are not going to turn 2. They will get 1, though. So Guerrero up with it. The only play is to get May at first. So good play, but runners move up. 2 in scoring position for George Scott. And he is due. He is 1 for 3. Can he put this game out of reach? Count even at 2 from the stretch and line drive into the gap in right field. And I said he was due for something big, and that's going to be a 2 RBI double. And that almost seals this contest, guys. 7-1 in favor of Milwaukee. Yogi Berra and Gil Hodges were good managers. Yup. Hodges had the miracle Mets for sure. Yeah, Gil Hodges took too damn long for him to get in the Hall of Fame as a player. All right, here's Johnny Briggs. I don't know the Ted Williams, though, Mark. I still don't know that. I mean, Ted Williams, I think, just because Ted Williams wasn't really he wasn't the guy to think so much about defense, even as a player. Ted Williams wanted to hit. And had Ted Williams been just a designated hitter, if that would have been a thing when the Splendid Splinter was playing, wow. I imagine Ted Williams would have even been even a greater batter if he wouldn't have been distracted playing in the outfield. All right, here's Johnny Briggs with a runner in scoring position. JT says, I think I didn't feel that Hodges was a Hall of Famer because he was like the sixth best player on his team. I don't know. I felt that Gil Hodges was very, very integral part of those Brooklyn Dodgers, and 351 career home runs. I mean, at the time, we kind of look at that now and say, yeah, meh. But 351 at the time, when the guy who was second had 536. So, well, Bernie told me that some of those Red Sox teams in the 1960s were. I don't know if Williams was managing them, but not so good. Campanella, Robinson, Snyder, Reese, maybe fifth best. Still good company. I'll tell you what, JT, I'd take Gil Hodges as my first baseman anytime, though. But yeah, when you got company like that, look at those 4 Hall of Famers. Yeah, that's. But Gil Hodges, I'm glad he's in. It just, again, we're trying to reestablish. So Ted Williams, yeah, there you go. What would he have had to work with? So Mark, I think you're right there. Wouldn't have much to work with in Washington and Texas. Good God. But that's all right. Arguably baseball's greatest pure hitter, Ted Williams. So, all right, let's see. A little bit of a shift left here for Johnny Briggs. Expected him to go the other way. Let's see. 0-2 pitch. He ain't going anywhere, but back to the pine. Change up there by Reggie Cleveland. So Cleveland with his second whiff of the game. And here's Bob Coluccio. Come on, Bob, you got to do something here for the Paisani in the game. 7-1 your score. Count 4 on Coluccio. And does he do it? Yeah. A little soft liner into left. Does Coluccio get the RBI? Yes. He indeed does. Throw up the line. Scott is in there. And it is 8-1 now in favor of Milwaukee. So about to put the fork in this one, gentlemen. Here's Darrell Porter, 1 for 3. 2 down. Coluccio, good speed on at first. Count 3-1. Porter swings and out to center field, ranging in on it. On his horse is Juan Beniquez, and he makes the grab. But 3 more score for the Brewers. 8-1, top of the 8th. feel like Hall of Famers is a bit much for a team that won one championship, 6 Hall of Famers. Remember, Alston's in the Hall too, and deservedly so. Yes, great manager, Walter Alston. Thanks for helping me unwind, guys. Gonna watch a movie, head to bed. Try not to wake your wife. All right, man. I definitely want to get on there, Mark. Sleep well, and again, break a leg. Break a leg, my friend. All right. So Dick McAuliffe in there now has an RBI in the game, and Bill Champion will come on to work here for the Milwaukee Brewers. Let's have a quick look at Champion's real life stats. So played from 1969 to 1976 with the Phillies and then with the Brewers. Finished with 34 wins, 50 losses, lifetime, 2 saves, a 4.69 earned run average, struck out 300 batters, walked 304. So there we go. A little bit about Bill Champion. All right, and he will face McAuliffe, Beniquez, and Cooper for the Boston Red Sox. Count full now on McAuliffe, and here's the pitch. McAuliffe walked his last time up, and just a routine grounder to the third, and George Scott will take this one to the bag unassisted. 1 away for Juan Beniquez. 1 for 3 in the contest. And the 1-1 pitch. Grounded out to Yount his last time up, and he's going to ground out to Robin Yount yet again. Score that one 6-3, 2 up, 2 down, and here's Cecil Cooper. Cooper, nothing 4-3, and Cooper definitely due. Getting stymied here, though, by Milwaukee pitching. And up with that one is Bill Champion for the 1-3 putout. No runs, no hits, and no errors, and nobody left on. We go to the home half of the 8th inning here at Milwaukee County Stadium. The Brewers lead the Red Sox 8-1. JT says, he says, anyway, he's not shading Hodges. He's a great ball player, but he fell just short qualifying for the Hall. Fair dinkum. And again, incredible company. Future Brewer, Cecil Cooper. How about it? All right, Pedro Garcia, Robin Yount, and Don Money due up. So Boston getting 1 run in the 5th, and that on a bases loaded walk, whereas Milwaukee 1 in the 1st, 1 in the 3rd, 3 in the 5th, and 3 in the 7th. 8-11-0 for these Brew Crews. Reggie Cleveland with the 1-0 pitch to Pedro Garcia, and Garcia lines this one into right field, base hit. All right, so Garcia with really good speed on at first, and here is Hall of Famer Robin Yount. 1 for 3 in the game. Yount grounds this one to first, 3-6 to no 3. Hard slide will break up the potential double play, so Yount aboard now, and here's Don Money. Don Money having himself quite a ball game. He is 2 for 4 with 2 batted in. 0-2 pitch. Don Money swing and a miss on a slider. So Reggie Cleveland picks up his 3rd strikeout, 2 down. Yount remains at first. Ken Berry, perfect day at the plate, 3 for 3, and a run batted in. Count 3-1. Swung on, maybe shouldn't have swung on that one. Slow grounder to third. Plenty of time, though, for Hughes to make the grab. We head to the 9th inning. Boston down 7 runs. And speaking of Boston, just to let you guys know that Bernie Strom is doing we all know that Bernie is Red Sox fan through and through. That the only time you'll see Bernie do a non-Red Sox game is when he's doing the Diamond Legends League for those guys. But he's doing sort of a version of Mike Silva's huge project, but all Red Sox teams. So it's all the Red Sox teams in baseball history, and Bernie looking for the greatest Red Sox team and doing that. And out of the park baseball, Mike Silva really helping Bernie out with that project, getting it set up. So even if you're not interested in the Red Sox as a team, if they're not your favorite team, still a lot of fun to watch, especially when you look up on the line score and it's Boston and Boston. So maybe Bernie needs to make some different sort of logos or something to differentiate, but that's a hell of a lot of Boston Red Sox teams. JT Justice, I think he's going to get Out of Park 27 when it comes out, give it a real shot. Report your the last out of the park you had was 19. You are, yeah. Well, so 27 is going to feel like a whole new ball game to you. And this is the stat head release coming out this year. So JT, I know you like deep player analysis, and you'll have that um, like a royal flush with out of the park 27. I'm happy with it. Is it a major, huge update? No, but it's a considerably good update in terms of what's going on in the background. And yeah, I hope you'll like it. I hope you'll like it. Maybe you might want to wait till it's on sale. I don't know. It's going to be 10% off on release day, but I would suggest getting it through Steam, JT, if you do get it. All right, here's Yaz. He is nothing for 2 in the game and just 1 for 6 early in the season. And here's the pitch to Yastrzemski. And first pitch swinging, routine ground ball to George Scott. He would take that one, 3 assisted, 1 away. Bill Montgomery, nothing for 3. And here's the pitch. Montgomery swings and wraps this one deep to center field, but back on it, drawing a bead on it, is Dave May. Great catch out there in center field. It's down to Bernie Carbo to try to keep things alive for the Bo Sox. Count even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Bernie Carbo looks at a called strike 3 on a fastball. This wasn't even a contest. Man, oh man, 8-1. And let's look at the game recap. The Brewers handle Boston. I'm just going to say it. The Brewers bitch slapped Boston with an 8-1 win, getting an impressive start from Jim Slayton, who's the player of the game. The Brewers beat the Red Sox by a score of 8-1. Slayton picked up the win for Milwaukee, going 7 innings, gave up 1 run on 4 hits. And his record, of course, goes to 1-0. Boston will fall to 1-1, and Milwaukee improves to 1-1. Outcome was still in doubt with 2 out in the top of the 5th inning, but Slayton was able to pitch out of a jam with the bases loaded and Boston trailing 2-1. Slayton retired Juan Benitez, who grounded out. Huge for the Red Sox was that 5th inning, leaving them loaded and only getting 1 run out of it. There we go. There was one and only one triple, and that was hit by Robin Yount in the 3rd inning off of the Spaceman. No home runs in this game. No homers in this game. Let's see. Who's our RBI king here for Milwaukee? So that crown will go to George Scott. Your player of the game is Jim Slayton. Bill Lee went 5 innings, 7 hits, 5 runs, 3 of them earned, struck out 1. Reggie Cleveland worked 3 in relief, gave up 5 hits, 3 earned runs, struck out 3. Jim Slayton gets the win, 7 innings. Pitched, just gave up that 1 earned run, walked 3, struck out 4. Bill Champion worked 2 in relief and struck out 1. So we're going to go ahead and jump out of this game. And there's some other good matchups here. So this is just kind of a fun, I don't really feel like doing a serious project thing. It's just to play. But there's some good stuff here. Randy Jones against Tommy John, Padres Dodgers, I think would be a lot of fun to play. Rooker and Siebert, yeah. Buccos and Cardinals, yeah. Could be cool. But I was originally going to do Tigers and Orioles. Joe Coleman and Dave McNally. I think that would be a fun matchup. We got Gaylord Perry, Mel Stottlemyre. There's some good matchups here. So Ken Holtzman and Fergie Jenkins. I don't do a lot of Rangers games on here, but there you go. We're not going to play the game versus the Cardinals. We're going to go back to saving the game. Even though I know the game automatically does it, I still like to do that. And then back to the start screen. And there we go. Yeah. Come on. Where are you, baby? There it is right at the top. So there we go. Okay, so yeah, you're going to get the early bird discount and you're buying it on Steam. I wish I could show you guys, but they would absolutely shoot me if I did it. But I'm having a lot of fun with it. Again, I haven't added in Mike's Ballparks yet, or anything like that. I'm going to wait for that to happen when they come to the Steam Workshop. So I'm right now playing the 2015 Pirates on Out of the Park 27. And I got to say, I'm really having fun with it. The animation looks a lot smoother, but there's just tons of back end stuff that's been added to 27. Even the team schedule screen looks really nice, man. Yep. You want the surprise? Yeah, there's some good stuff. There's some good stuff. JT, if you feel like coming on and chatting for a little bit, I can unshare and reshare. So that way, because right now I have this sharing game audio or desktop audio, and I don't think you want to be in a Pink Floyd echo chamber. Although I myself wouldn't have minded being in Pink Floyd, but I'm not as good of a keyboard player as Richard Wright. May his memory be eternal. So. I wasn't planning on doing any baseball tonight, but I thought, what the hell, man? What the hell? I was sitting there playing Out of the Park 27. I'm like, damn it, now I feel like doing a game. Because I was just going to play a game of Out of the Park 27, and then I was going to go back and watch. I don't know if you guys are into like British comedies or maybe sort of British dramas. So I've been doing a second pass through of Cadfile, starring Sir Derek Jacobi. Takes place in 12th century England. And he's sort of like this detective, but really captures those times in England. As you're on the cusp of, right? You're about 100 years from the Renaissance, the beginning of the Renaissance. So good stufferoonies. Okay, I wasn't going to wrap up. I mean, if you want to come on and chin wag, or else we can just tomorrow night, man. You tell me what works better for you. I'd rather get on earlier tomorrow and have you on for a few hours, and we can just have Diamond Mind running in the background. Pick a Dodgers game if you want. That might work out a little better. All right. Does that sound good to you? I'll try to get on here a bit earlier, like around 10. And we'll have JT Dutch on with us, and with a game where we don't need sound. All right, excellent. Well, guys, that does it for tonight. Let's see, how do we do broadcast time? Hour and 12 minutes. Not bad. Not bad at all. So, JT Dutch, thank you very much. To Mark Unger, again, break a leg, brother. And can't wait to play some head to head. And I just can't wait for the channel all you guys are doing. So, Pesky Pole, everybody's involved in this, and all the luminaries. John DFW here is with us tonight. Thank you, John. Very, very, very much appreciated. And it gave us the it took us quite a while to solve that trivia question, but we got her done. Philip Reynolds joined us. Thank you, Philip. Brother Jack Dawson. Nathaniel was in here tonight. Jack was the first one in the ballpark. All right, take care, guys. Yeah, you betcha, brother. Same to you, man. And till I see you hopefully tomorrow night, Lord willing, and the creeks don't rise. See you around the batting cage. World Baseball Classic has already started. So if you're watching that, enjoy it. All right, guys. Good night.